As for would I recommend this book, I really don't think I would. Hi, my name is Terry Westall and welcome back to Panic at the Book Club. This week we're discussing Carla by Colin Walsh. If you'd like to take part in this online book club, you can find out more information on how via the channel's intro video. We list the next 4 books below and on TikTok, along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose what book best suits you and the time frame to read it in. We also accept your book feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send a voice note, or even send me a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message on Instagram. In a seaside town on Ireland's west coast, 3 friends are thrown together for the first time in years.
You've been wounded. That side very pretty. That side looks like you've been beaten.
Helen, Jo and Mush were a part of an original group of 6 inseparable teens in summer 2003. With motherless and reckless Carla as the group's white-hot centre. But soon after that summer's peak, Carla disappeared without a trace. Now it's 15 years later. Helen has reluctantly returned to Ireland for her father's wedding. Jo is a world-famous musician who's newly back in town, and Mutt never left, too scared to venture out. But human remains have been discovered in the woods, and 2 more girls have gone missing. As past and present begin to collide, estranged friends are forced to confront their own complicity in the events that led to Carla's disappearance. And hopefully they can stop violent patterns from repeating themselves once again. Technically, on paper, I should really like this book. I love a good thriller, but for me, this just wasn't it. The chapter length was a total mixed bag, with some chapters being a really reasonable length and others seeming to go on for a little bit too long. But if I'm honest, I felt the book itself just went on for way too long, and the whole structure of the narrative just seemed totally off with really bizarre pacing. Nothing happened for so long that by the time anything even remotely interesting happened, I was unfortunately already at a point where I was really disinterested. I was a little interested in what had happened to Carla and where the twins had gone. I'm a sucker for a mystery and I love a good whodunit. But unfortunately, despite how the book was described, it wasn't really about that. The book was more about power and corruption and who was really in control of the town. The first part of this book was primarily about this group of friends during the past and in the present. I did like the character development and the relationship between these people in the main friendship group. I liked Mush. I often felt quite bad for him, but at the same time, I really liked the sweet relationship that he had with the girls in this group. However, I think that's about the only respect towards women in this whole book. It explored the misogynistic expectations that men may have on women, but at times it was just absolutely disgusting. I can't help but feel that sometimes it was in there more for the reaction rather than for any real purpose. Also, if I witnessed any dogfighting and one of my friends tried to convince me to just leave it alone, I think any friendship I had with this person would cease to exist. I understand being scared in a situation like that, but if you're okay, if any part of you is okay with just letting that be, then we can not be friends. Anyway, back to what we're really here to discuss. There were some really good story ideas and plot twists. it's just most of all of that appeared in like the last 40% of the book, and it just felt like too much. Like, it kind of felt like the author had all of these amazing ideas, and instead of selecting a few of them to include and executing them well, he just decided to throw all of them in there, and it didn't really feel like we got a proper ending. Like, I don't mind leaving some things kind of open, and I get that everything was kind of linked, but in the end, it just kind of felt like half of what happened and half of the characters were just unnecessary. Like, they didn't really need to be there. Like, if it wasn't for Helen summarizing some of the events at the end of the book, I would probably still be trying to figure some of it out. Too little was going on at the beginning, while just a bit too much was going on all of a sudden at the end. The writing itself was really good, and I thought that the dialect and the slang was done really well. It's just between that many different time jumps and that many people and the really weird pacing, it just was confusing as hell and I couldn't keep up. So, as for would I recommend this book? I really don't think I would. It is quite a highly rated book, so it definitely has its audience out there. It's just, for me, it did not keep my attention. So when things really did start to kick off, it just wasn't enough to bring me back in. I can see why some people did enjoy this book. It did have some extremes and some good plot twists. It just wasn't for me. I did promise myself when I started doing this book club that I would try my best to avoid not finishing a book, but it really did get close with this book to being a DNF. But I am glad that I do now know what happened to the characters. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book?
Hello. So I've just given up on Carla. I'd like to say I've just finished Carla, but I'm done. I don't think I've ever got so far in a book and then decided to give up on it. 73% of the way through, supposedly exciting stuff is happening, and I just realised that I don't give a I just don't care. I don't care what's happening. The whole book is just so up and down. From page 1, there's 6 main characters, and then alongside the 6, there's often their parents, family, cousins, teachers, and they're all just there right from the start. There's no building up of a character, or, we'll get to know 1 or 2 or 3 characters first, and then we'll bring in other characters. So from the start, I've just been completely lost with it, basically. I don't know who's alive. I don't know who's dead. I don't know whose parents are alcoholics. I don't know who's missing. Another layer to this is just the time. Like, I don't mind a book doing present day and something in the past when it's relevant and it's done well, but this is just an absolute mess. It's all over the place. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. New chapter, we're back in 2003, but sometimes it'll be 2003 and then someone will just start talking about something else that happened in the current day. I don't even know. As I say, I'm 73% of the way through and I'm just completely lost. I don't care what's happening. If it turns out that the twins have gone missing in the same way that Carla did, and that this mysterious figure is the culprit, then that is the most predictable thing that I've ever heard. Hopefully there's a twist, but I don't care if there is enough to find out. So, I was going to give it 2 stars, because usually if I DNF something, I don't rate it, because I don't think it's fair. But I've got so far, I think I can rate it. But yeah, I was going to give it 2 stars, but I don't know why it deserves 2 stars. It might be a 1 star. Would not recommend.
Next week, we'll be discussing The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. So don't forget to get your comments and thoughts in by Monday the 13th of November at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok or Instagram. The following week will be Powerless. Don't forget, if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok, along with the discussion dates. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Bye.
Can you play, can you play, 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 can you hey, girl, hey, 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 hey. Check it out, ooh, ooh, ooh.